Hopefully all is well with you and yours. I was trying to get the live chat to come up on my other phone here, and it doesn't seem to want to cooperate with me. So give me just a second. Hopefully you can hear me. Okay. Forgot my headphones. Yay, here we go. All right. All messages. Hey Kyle, how's it going? Hopefully you're doing well. I got a present in the mail from you for my birthday. I actually have something for you. What is going on? This app is using the full screen. Okay, cool. Go away from me. All right, goodbye. Okay. I actually have something for you too, Kyle, that I need to send at some point. Sorry, my phone's starting to play my live stream on my other... Okay, live chat. Sweet. Hey, David D. How's it going? David says, wow, you look stunning. Oh, thanks. I got a new shirt. I got a few new shirts, actually. So, no big deal. Just brings out the beauty in my skin tone. Just kidding. I'm not sure if you can see Mount Shasta. Oh, there she is behind me. I am sitting at Starbucks in Weed today. I'm not sure how long I plan to be on here. I have some things to do at home today. And I have a full moon celebration coming up. What next? Not this coming week, but next Tuesday after that. On the 17th, which is my birthday. Happy birthday to me. I get to go and, prepare a bunch of food and serve people on the mountain, kind of praying that the weather is a little bit on the colder side, and so maybe it won't be like a big ordeal. My favorite event, by far, was last year, I think, when it was pretty much snowing up there, and there was maybe 10, 11 people throughout the night. Well, different people come and go, right? But a steady crowd of maybe 10 or 11, 12 people, I don't know. A really small, intimate crowd, and we all just got to talk to each other and whatever. We weren't competing with drums. So I'm kind of hoping that that's what I get for my birthday. We'll see. We'll see what happens. But also, I am working on planning / scheduling a Shasta Vegan Community Thanksgiving party, dinner, maybe. The time hasn't really been set in stone yet. But November 30th, it's the last Saturday in November, right after Thanksgiving, is when I am going to be planning it here in Mount Shasta City. I've got a handful of people that have already confirmed that they will come. Some are going to be bringing their own dishes. I have a lot of vegan friends here. Some of them are actual chefs who have studied with or under, or whatever you want to say, people in Southern California, these really famous top chefs. I don't know their names personally, but I do think that that's really impressive, really cool that they got to have those experiences. I'm a self-made chef. I just follow the recipe usually, and after I'm comfortable with the recipe, then I will start to kind of tweak it and make it my own. But I wasn't taught by anybody. I've had to learn all of this stuff on my own, but I do appreciate the people that have gotten that kind of education and whatnot. So anyways, Kyle says it's super chilly that night. I know, it was snowing on us. That was crazy. David D says, sorry I was a bit late, got tied up. That's okay. Oh, Kyle said got my address, so I didn't see that. Kyle, I'm not sure if I have your address because that was in Messenger. Was it Messenger that you sent me some time ago? You'll have to maybe resend that to me, whatever way. Anyways, David D says Thanksgiving event. Nice. Yeah. Last year I really wanted to do Thanksgiving and Christmas. And then I kind of had some of my own personal issues and had a falling out with a friend and just some other stuff that kind of got me off of the path of, the path that I was on and the excitement that I was feeling, and the support that I thought that I had kind of fueling me and helping with that was shaken, and so I didn't really feel like I had anybody that supported me, and to be able to even pull off the events and stuff. So thankfully I'm not feeling like that in this position any longer. I've had a few people say that they would come to like any types of events that I put on, and even with this Thanksgiving event, I already reached out to people and they said that they would be there, that they think it would be really awesome. There's a lot of travelers here, a lot of, I kind of refer to us as orphans. Our families are other places. My family's all mainly in Ohio. And realistically, I'm not going to be seeing them for the holidays. And even if the opportunity presented itself, I probably would still stay home, because holidays are a really sensitive topic, and I don't know, just a lot of emotional things for me, on top of just the emotional state that it is when I'm visiting my family in general. Just, I don't know, going through the awakening process and becoming more of who I am and who I'm meant to be, definitely has caused separation between me and not only my family, but my friends too, right? I don't know about you, but anybody from like high school or any of these, I don't have friends from before. Mainly my friends are online. You guys, my social media friends that actually believe the same things as me. And what kind of just popped into my mind was this story from, I believe it's in the Essene Gospel of the Holy 12. But basically Christ was like sitting with his disciples and whatever, and someone came up and like, hey, your mom and your brothers and sisters are over there over yonder, they want to talk to you. And Christ was like, what do you mean? Like, these people around me are my brothers and sisters. They're the ones that believe the same as me. We're the ones that are on the same path as me. So that kind of idea is portrayed not just only in the Essenes, but even like in the Bible, it says that Christ didn't come to bring peace but a sword, right? Like division between mother and father and loved ones and all of these things. Because I mean, truth does cause division. It can. And there's a healthy balance that we have to have with that too, though, because ultimately we are all one. There's one heavenly father, there's one earthly mother. We're all their children, no matter what species we're in. And we have to ultimately get over these divisive topics to unite together to create a golden age, which is one of the things I wanted to talk about today. So, David D says, self-made chef. Yeah, exactly. I never thought that I would be in this position ever. David says, Queen got derailed but is focused on success now. It'd be really nice to have pedal to the metal success and really just get things like have significant change. And my goal is by the end of the year. So we will see how that works out. David says, hard to be around non-vegans. Yeah. Honestly, if I could, I would take the Liberation Pledge. There's a lot of vegans that already have, but I don't feel like I have business dealings and even family and other things. Like I can't really commit to the pledge, or else I would. But the Liberation Pledge essentially just is that you won't eat with people that are eating animals. And realistically, if you're eating a baby, a baby human, I wouldn't sit down and eat at the table with you, right? I don't want to be part of that fellowship. We can bond over there on something else or find common ground in another place. But you guys eat your meal over there, I'll be over here. I just don't want to be involved in that, right? Because even, and I'm not sure if it's the Clementine homilies or the Clementine recognitions, one of the, those Clementine texts actually talks and says specifically not to eat with people that are eating flesh, and that it's like a demonic ritual, essentially. Demons kind of gather around for that activity, and you're essentially breaking bread with them. You're binding yourself to them. Their energy is in there, so it's not like, it's not God and his angels that are surrounding you and having this positive, uplifting, great experience that you would have, especially if you're having like a fruit feast. I just imagine like just this smorgasbord of all the different types of fruit, like fruits you've never even seen before, just so full of life. And then contrast that with like a big just buffet of like dead body parts of animal, like even their heads, right? Like imagine even the stuff that isn't normally taken out for your dinner meal, and which one of those do you think that God's will is for us to consume, to be around, and we need to align ourselves with that. And I'm preaching to myself too. Obviously, I mean, I'm vegan, but I am a junk food vegan, and whoever's been following my journey knows that like a few months ago, I was so impressed with myself because I was only eating fruit and barely eating any fruit, and I was feeling so good and proud of myself for finally getting the gluttony demon like kind of under control. And then I started eating again, and it's been like downhill, like tanked. So I'm feeling like the opposite of proud of myself, and I really need at least to get back on the raw train and just be at least not eating processed junk that's cooked and that's hurting me. So yeah, it all kind of has to do with the topic of today's discussion, and something that was channeled to me that I kind of want to get into more in another live stream, not today, because I want to meditate on it a little bit more and get, I don't know, just more information, I guess. Sorry if the light's tweaking out. But essentially, the concept is that God is within all of us, and it kind of is obvious. You've already heard this before, and even heard before the fact that we have that connection between, like, to the light side and the dark side, right? We have the angel on one shoulder and the devil on the other, this connection between the light and the dark. And essentially, whatever side we turn to, whatever side we feed into, that's the side that's going to grow, right? So if I go, maybe in meditation or whatever you do, prayer, anything, I don't know, you do you. But what is the will of God? How can I tap into that? Well, we're already connected to that. So once we tap into that, once we just consciously make the request, right, the intent that we're going to tap into that, to connect with that, to go down that path, then we start to become more God-like, and that God within all of us shines through, and we change ourselves and the world around us. So there's essentially more of a story channeled to me that goes along with that, but like I said, I want to dive deeper into it to get the full spectrum of the story before I relay it to you, so that it can be full and impactful as it should be. So that's really cool, but it also aligns with what I've been kind of promoting for the past few years, right, of becoming the best versions of ourselves, and constantly changing to do that. And also what's coming into mind is the verse from even the Bible. Christ says, be perfect just as your Father in heaven is perfect. If we weren't able to be perfect, or at least perfect in their manner, right? Like, we all make mistakes, and there's only a certain degree of perfection you can even have in this reality. But the fact still remains that if it wasn't possible, he wouldn't have told us to do it, right? If you have like a child, or I don't want to degrade us to children, right? Christ's disciples weren't like his children, but they were his students, he cared about them, right? You don't give a child or these others, I wouldn't give you a task to follow or to do if I knew that you couldn't do it. That would just be wrong. It would be mean. I don't know. It would be cursing you to failure. Like, I don't know. So, it's not an impossible feat to essentially know God's will and follow God's will into perfection, till that refines us as well. Once we start tapping into that and that becomes our intent, it's easier to flow with that, right? Like, most people are kind of flowing down the opposite path of it's like a zombie mode where they're doing whatever they've been doing their whole lives, whatever they've been programmed to do, and that just kind of fuels itself, right? So we kind of have to make this intentional shift to do something else, and the flow will still keep going with that. It's just we just need to switch streams, right? So yeah, pretty cool. Let me see if the rest of my train of thought catches up to me. Kyle said next year after April I'll have 3 weeks vacation time. Woohoo, nice. Some money saved up to visit Mount Shasta. David D says Christ didn't come to bring peace but a sword. Just don't hear about that very often, right? Even in Christmas time it's like, oh, peace on earth, peace on earth. Like, what are the words that actually came out of his mouth, right? Like, he also said, if you don't have a sword, then sell your cloak and go buy one. Like, if you look into the historical aspect of it, he was like this rebel leader that the people wanted him to be their king. And, you know, king and queen are military titles. They're not just like, we've been programmed to see them as this frail, old, you know, the Queen of England, just like, you know, would anybody of you follow the Queen of England into, I don't even like to call them that, right? Abominations to God don't deserve royal titles. Would you follow that into battle? Because I wouldn't. But anyways, people wanted to make Christ their king, and there's even other texts that say that there was this battle between Paul and the followers of the way, and there was like 40 men, maybe women too, I don't know. 40 of them vowed that they would not eat or drink until Paul was dead. Like, these people were not like just peace-loving hippies that were, you know, singing Kumbaya. There was some intense stuff that was going on at this time in military, like war aspects, life and death things going on. There's a war going on all around us, right? There's people dying every day. There's fabricated wars, but there's also like real people dying. There's real animals that are dying. There's a spiritual war going on all around us, a war for our soul, right? So you can either ignore that, or you can start to play the game the way that your soul intended you to play, and that involves awakening to the truth of our reality, right? The more that we awaken, it's like pretty much everything that we've ever been taught is an inversion of the truth and a lie, right? Well, I can't say everyone watching, but hey, what's your purpose going? Most people that watch my videos are in the truther community, you already know. So from flat earth to evolution to the Big Bang to vaccines to just our history, science, everything is a complete inversion of the truth. And so much of that is just to go to separate us from God and our own divinity, to crush us down, right? If you think that you are meaningless evolved slime that lives on one giant spinning ball that's just one of billions and billions and billions in the infinite universe, you don't matter. Your mentality, your way of life is going to be different than when you know that you're like, oh, there's God right above me. I'm on the Truman Show and I'm being watched and judged. Everything that I'm doing and what I do does matter, right? Not only in the grand scheme of things, but for my own self, whether I'm corrupting myself or purifying myself in this physical world, I'm doing that to my soul as well, right? So everything that we do ultimately does matter. And if we don't change what we have been doing thus far, you know, we can't expect different results. We can't expect a golden age if we continue doing what we've always done. And I mean, everyone who's watched me over time knows that I've kind of just become only about veganism, and that's because that's the one thing that's going to change everything, is if we do unto others what we want done to us. If we want to be free, if we want to live freely, if we want to go explore the world and not worry about like our children being taken from us, you know, how many people want to just pack up their vans and hit the road with their kids and just travel and not worry about the government, CPS coming and saying, hey, you know, you didn't get your vaccines, you're not schooling appropriately, you're not doing this, you're not doing that, right? Who wants to live in that situation? Because I know I don't. But that's what we're doing, like, to the animals in the way that we treat them. And so therefore that's what we deserve. We can't be free unless we give that freedom to others. It's so simple. that a child could understand it, right? So we got to change ourselves, and that goes right along with the whole message of today, is becoming, the God within, and highlighting that, and part of that is what we eat on a daily basis, and that's just the beginning of it, because ultimately vegans know that these things, animal products, have been slipped into so many different products, and part of that, like I was saying earlier, there's these agendas to separate us from our divinity, but also those that are doing this to us know our divinity, and they don't like us. They want to crush us down. So they're having a laugh seeing gods and goddesses degrade themselves and act like clowns, act like animals, act like degenerate fools, because it makes them feel better about their own selves, and also, the species war that's going on, which is partially part of the channeled information of where the God within came from. So I don't want to give too much away, because like I said, I want the full story before I give it away, and that was just channeled to me, so yeah. All right, David D says, happy birthday now, go cook for 100 plus people. Yeah, right. Sorry, that was a little bit before everything else, but make the request to yourself. You have God within us. It will resonate as true on a soul level. Exactly. Yeah. And that's the same with so many different topics, right? Like for me, the first time that I even saw a flat earth video, like there was just something inside of me that clicked, and I was like, not only does that make so much sense, it just, I don't know, I just got this overwhelming feeling of like, wow, that's it. And part of that does come from, the fact that we have done this over and over again, right? Reincarnation, our souls have been through this, and like also that we have a connection to the truth, right? To essentially God, that we can tap into for anything, any kind of discernment, right? You can pray for discernment and read any spiritual text, anything, and essentially get it. That's one of the things that I love to do, is get any types of spiritual text, any religious teachings, and basically go through and take the gold and throw out the rest, right? Because that's how so many things are these days, right? The mix of truth and lies, especially with the religious teachings and texts and scriptures and scrolls, whatever. They get you with the truth, and then they mix the lies in so that they can divert us. But when you look at all the different truths of all these different religions, they all match up and make one big picture of essentially one true religion, and that ties back to essentially the whole creation of this realm that we live in, and how the game of chess is is what it's built off of, and the different symbolism in the game of chess, and how the light versus the dark, and different aspects of the game of chess. And that's why Freemasons have it in their symbolism. They know the truth of our reality, and of course the lower down ones have their own deceptive, they've been deceived, right? But their symbolism shows a lot of the truth in plain sight, and they don't own the chessboard. It's really frustrating when someone's like, oh, you play chess, you must be a Freemason. It's like, so you're going to try to tell me that every single person who has ever played chess in the whole existence of the world is a Freemason, even if they don't even know anything about Freemasonry, they never taken a Freemason oath, they wouldn't even be accepted by the Freemasonry Brotherhood? Like, really? Anyways, I get really fired up when people use like signs and symbols and different symbology and like just demonize it as a blanket statement, because that's just not how things work. So many things have been stolen, right? Inverted, different hand gestures, mudras, that are based off of the knowledge that our hands, our fingers, all have different energies attached to them, based on the different elements like water, fire, earth, air, and then ether, essentially, spirit. And combining these different elements, different forces, different energies, can bring about different feelings and healings in the body. So it's really cool to look into mudras, and my whole point again is that they've been demonized and called evil when they're not. We need to look under the surface. So anywho, Kyle says the devil on my shoulder has no other choice but to be vegan. Well, Kyle, what if I told you that, I mean, Satan himself was God's favorite. Satan knows what the right way to live is. So for me, in my book, I believe that Satan is vegan, but he promotes the bad choice for us because he wants to degrade us. He wants to corrupt us, and he's contracted to corrupt. He has to corrupt us. That's his job. That's the role that he is given in, I wanted to say, this Westworld scenario that we live in. If you guys haven't seen Westworld, a lot of truth in plain sight, a lot of garbage in the video too, so I don't necessarily recommend it. But essentially, it's this world that people can go in, interact with these robotic, characters, and before they go in, they either choose a black hat if they're going to go in and be a bad guy, or they're going to choose a white hat and go in if they're going to be a good guy. If you're a real human, you chose the white hat. You're here, essentially, you agreed with God's will. And my message really is for you that we need to find that divinity within and become the best versions of ourselves possible. Not only for our own benefit, but for our future children's benefit and for the benefit of the world around us, because, as above, so below, as within, so without, as the universe, so the soul. All of these things impact each other, and are a reflection of each other. So we have to clean up ourselves, and it'll affect the world around us. So super stoked about that. And that is with every species. So I should mention, the other species that are watching, all of the jinn that are around us, whatever fae, any of these entities, they have a best self too that they can become, and they need to realize that there's only one realm here, and we need to come together to save the mother. So yeah, the black hat people in Westworld, like I said, come in to do essentially the will of the dark ones. They come in, they kill, they rape, they do all of the evil stuff, and that is essentially what the inverts do, right? These souls choose to come into families that will invert them from birth. This is family traditions. These are the bloodlines that rule our world, right? Almost everyone knows about these bloodlines or has heard about them, whether you believe it or not, doesn't matter. There's videos about all the connections and stuff out there at your fingertips that you can look into if you want. But essentially, these bloodlines that rule our world have the family traditions of inversion, and they get, demonic powers, riches, fame, whatever. This is how they sell their soul to Satan, right? They have this family tradition, and that's basically everyone in the family goes through this process. Otherwise, you're a black sheep, you're a loose end. You didn't get, you're not part of the family. You don't get the riches, the fame, the wealth, right? Because you're a real human. You don't get to, well, I shouldn't say real human, but you're your real sex, right? Because these bloodlines that rule our world aren't fully human on a DNA level either. Most people know about the biblical story in the book of Enoch about the fallen ones, the jinn who shapeshifted into human form and actually impregnated human females, and those became hybrids. They were these giants that ruled the world, that were just totally changing the DNA and raping and pillaging and just going to town. I think it's the book of Enoch or maybe Jasher or something. I don't know. That just came to mind. But there's more in-depth stories about the giants and how, I don't even know, they would just torture humans, and it was just a really bad situation. But then the flood, blah, blah, blah. Those bloodlines are still ruling our world today. There's evidence of even Andre the Giant and these giant athletes and stuff that are descendants of the giants, right? So long story short, well, I guess long story long, they still run our world today in the bloodlines. They're hybrids, and then they're also inverts. So there's a lot that Satan and his minions, the dark ones, gift to them for doing all of this, but it goes directly against God's will. So yeah. David says Satan teaches that you are evolved slime, nothing matters, do as thou wilt is the whole of the law. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and yeah, I don't know. They can't be too happy, even though they have like an instant gratification. Well, I can't say a blanket statement for all of them, right? Like, not everyone lives like this, but a lot of it with the instant gratification lifestyle and being in these rich and famous positions, it's just not fulfilling when they go home, right? They don't have true happiness in their lives. They just have this facade. They get the worship from the humans that keeps them going. Otherwise, they're depressed. Like, if you are a dude and you go home and, like, not to be, like, weird or anything, but if you strip down and you have, like, fake tits and a penis, like, you're gonna be, like, unless you're absolutely off your rocker, you're gonna be questioning, like, you're gonna have some serious self-image issues, like that, because that's just not, it's not right, it's not normal. And at a soul level, like, your soul knows that that's not is not okay. So anyways, David says the truth is opposite. Everything matters. We are on the Truman Show, and all that happens here happens in the spiritual. Yeah, exactly. And these souls, well, I was going to say these souls, but really all of us need to take that into consideration more and focus on our souls. And I'm preaching to myself too. I have let myself get off of my path where I wanted to be, and I'm okay with that, but I also, like, have goals and I have responsibility on my shoulders that I need to take care of. So I'm hoping that I can pull, what do they say, like, pull yourself up by the bootstraps, or pull your, I don't know what the phrase is, but that phrase. Basically, I just need to get myself moving, and I'm encouraging you as well to do that. I plan to basically be, like, fully raw unless there's a special occasion for some reason, and even then, you know, I don't know, but that's just one of the things I want to do. And hopefully you can take some inventory of your own life and figure out what you need to do to become better, and do it with me. Yeah, yay team. So anyways, this past week, I went on a little road trip to Utah, and I visited Zion National Park. It was really, really cool. I don't know if I have any pictures on my phone that I can show you. Maybe I'll make a little video. But it was really, really fun. I went with a couple of friends and got these electronic bikes, which I've never ridden before, so that was really fun in itself. But also, let me see here. But also, it's just really beautiful to get to ride through. You should look at some pictures of Zion National Park. It's really gorgeous. Gorgeous, I tell ya. Alright, let's see. Yeah. I couldn't really take my own pictures because as soon as you, like, start to pedal, the motor gets activated and it starts pulling you. So I would start pedaling and the bike would, like, start taking off. You have to grab the handlebars, but anyways, plenty of pictures at your fingertips until I can put something out of my own. But yeah, it was a really fun time. So I'm excited about that. Still kind of getting settled back in. I haven't even unpacked all of my stuff. So I got some of that to do. And then, like I said, basically I need to start preparing for the full moon event this week because it's coming up on Tuesday the 17th. Anybody who's in town will be up there around sundown, so you should come and say hi. And then, yeah, November 30th, Thanksgiving, vegan Thanksgiving. Location and time to be announced, but mark your calendar, save the date, whatever. Hope you can make it. All right. I love you guys, and I hope that you have a wonderful week. May God and the Goddess bless you.